This meeting is being recorded.
All right. So a couple people want to make sure that they bring things up to me, and I'm going to invite that in a couple minutes, which knowing me is going to be more than a couple minutes, but you know what I mean. Hey, Randy. Aloha, buddy. I want to be, I don't know, extra transparent. I'm just pretty transparent all the time. So I'm not sure how I can be much more. I want to be really clear and open about something for me about this program. So I've been helping people now, checking with your breathing, everybody become presenter than you were. I've been doing this my whole life. And before I started doing this as a business 8 years ago, thanks. Before I started doing this as a so-called business 8 years ago, I noticed that my ability and my skills at helping people to get through an issue, a challenge, a problem, whatever, a life thing, my skill at that was constantly elevating and accelerating like all the time. And every time that I ever sat down with anybody and helped them, okay, so I just got a nudge about something, and I wanna bring it to light right now before I go any further. You infinite, unlimited beings that I'm looking at and talking to right now, you are sitting with me right now at the level of familiarity with me that you have, right? Right? Kirsten, yours is right where it is, and Andrea's is right where it is. Ain't no better or worse in anything, so they can't be better or worse at this. However, there is such a thing as a different level of familiarity. And if Andrea has been with me now for 4 years and diving in and applying everything and watching the videos like day after day after day, every day, and applying and applying and applying, and Kirsten, you found me a few weeks ago or months ago, whatever, and kind of like checked it out and then just read my book, the familiarity is going to be totally different. Not to mention how different you are from each other in your personality and the way that you take things. One maybe having a little habits of being a little more what some would call gullible. I just believe everything anyone says about it. And another might be a little bit more skeptical. Well, I just listen. I take it all with a grain of salt because I don't know. And neither of those are good or bad either, or better or worse either. Is anybody waiting for the good shit, or is anybody suspecting that if we're in session and I'm communicating, it might be a part of the whole, you know? So for you who are with me right now, what I'm saying might be more relevant. So while you are doing what you always do is, well, I'm listening with partial attention until I find out how relevant this is. And then, if it really, okay, that way, that's for me. Don't do that. Present is present. Not present is not present. I am inviting and encouraging you to, at every moment of your life, period, to be completely and fully present, and more so moment by moment by moment. And especially in session, but not necessarily especially more, just be present. And if you ain't present on these sessions, I know damn well you ain't present out in your daily life. Thanks, hon. You dig? I mean, come on, if you were going to be on your best behavior, which we've all been programmed to do, be on your best behavior when you, then you'd be more present here than anywhere else. So if I see you not being fully present here, I can be pretty freaking sure that in your daily habitual life, you ain't being no more present. So let's crank it up here. every breath between words, every word said, every concept shared might be the one that can catapult you to that next place of awareness so that everything else falls into place on a higher level. Dig? So, Hilton and Nazi and Charlotte. I know, Charlotte, you were on video a bit ago. Everybody, when you're on the sessions, be on video unless you're moving, you're driving, you have some major distraction, be on video the whole time. Okay, so all of my life, I have been doing this with people, spotting, listening, and reflecting back to them. And then I found out, at age 46, to stop. That was 8 years ago for me. Stop doing that with people who didn't ask for it. Ooh, boy, 97% of the suffering in my life just disappeared right then when I quit helping people that weren't asking for it. And at the same time, for all those years that I was doing that helping people thing, my ability to do it, my sensitivity at doing it, my developing mastery at doing it was climbing every time I touched another person. Now, if you do transcription in the courtroom, if that's the career that you've taken on, notice I didn't call you a court transcriptionist because you aren't that. It's just something you might do. If you are if you provide tech support over the phone for some company, for some piece of software or equipment, or if you are a writer, or if you do writing, if you do oil changes underneath cars 7 hours a day, 5 days a week, I don't give a flippy shit what you do. If you bring presence to the doing and you treat everyone like it was the first time you ever did it, you are going to be observing and noticing and detecting things that no one has ever seen and noticed and detected. And if your question was something like, okay, so I do oil changes for cars and trucks, how can I do the absolute most efficient, effective job at this? And how can I be in a state of constant and never-ending improvement or enhancement, skill, expansion of expertise, efficiency, and effectiveness all the time, every day? If you were thinking that, you would start to see and notice things. You would be in a position to potentially create the next major breakthrough in any number of related areas. Do you get it? Do you kind of get it? No, I'm just a dumbass changing oil. No, you're not, unless that's what you believe, in which case you're right. So what if one day you quit doing oil changes and you went into, I don't know, professional swimming? Who fucking cares? What you go into something else? Do you see, are you willing to see the possibility that you might have learned one or two things from those 10,000 oil changes that really didn't mean that much to you? You go into a completely different field where no one has ever changed oil, and you have one or two or three or whatever key insights that no one in this new industry, the industry's been there for decades too, but everybody in it has been in it for decades, and everybody knows how it is and knows what it is. You might bring in The one distinction that literally changes the whole industry, yes or no? Okay? You get that? You willing to let that edge go? Okay, I know he's on his way to making a point. No, I'm making the fucking point. I'm not on the way to a point. I'm making points with every word I say and every breath in between, if you get them. And that's one of the things, be honest with yourself. While I was talking, if any part of you was thinking, well, I know he's getting to it. I know he's going to make a point. I mean, he's going on and on and on. Any part of you doing that, then you've been doing that with other people too, haven't you? And look at those relationships. Are they as rich and deep as you want them to be? Not a fucking chance. So, what are you talking about, Brian? Well, first of all, I'm talking about what I'm talking about. That's first and foremost. Second, I'm talking about what you actually have in your hands right now with me and this group. Brian, I don't quite see the connection. Breathe deeper and listen closer. 46 years, roughly. Well, I started doing this when I was around 3, so 43 years. Of every day, my focus was, how do I help the person in front of me more efficiently, more effectively, more completely? How do I create my life the way that I want it to be? And how do I also help everyone around me that wants it to create their life more they want it to be? With that being my primary question that's running in everything that I ever do. Now let me pause and interrupt myself. Now there's 2 people at that oil change place that both worked there for 20 years. One of them had the constant and never-ending question, how can I get over on the company just a little bit more? I mean, where I show up for my 8 hours, I do my 40 hours a week, and I want to make sure I maximize whenever it's time for a quarterly review, and I make sure I get my 10-cent raise. How do I get over on the company just a little bit? Do the least possible work and still get the maximum possible pay? That's the question running in one person's mind. The other person's questions are, how do I do the most efficient, effective, optimal job possible while constantly learning and enhancing my value to this company and to myself? Now, wait a minute. They're both working 40 hours a week for 20 years. Do you think there's a difference in what they take away from that experience if they have those 2 different questions? Are you willing to let yourself for just a minute quit thinking you know every fucking thing and actually contemplate for a second, what kind of different outcomes will they take away? One of them's going to constantly feel like they're being caught, like they're in trouble, like they're doing wrong. They're right on the edge of being in trouble. They feel guilty because they know they're fucking the company and themselves and the customers over. They know they're not putting that damn oil plug in as tight as they could, and maybe they had a little bit of sand, but they didn't really pay attention. And the other person puts their head on their pillow at night and goes, oh, wow. Get it? You get it? Who knew I could milk so much out of fucking oil changes? But anyway, what you bring to it, the questions you're running in your mind, and the fact that you stop to consider what questions you have running in your mind. And then the idea that you could even begin to direct which questions you have running. And then you could keep those running. And begin to actually move in directions that are preferable and intentional. That doesn't sound very spiritual, right? Who the fuck said this was a spiritual program? Did I say that? I never said this was a spiritual program. So now, continuing on. For the decades that I was doing it before I started it as a business, my question was, how do I create more and more awesome results in my own life and world, and for everybody that comes to me who wants it. Then 8 years ago, I started doing this as a business. Again, whatever the hell that means. I don't really know. Some people seem to know, but I don't know. Ever since then, I've continued with the same question. And what really stands out, the spark that I got when I started to talk several minutes ago, and I made that note, was I want to help these people to realize what they actually have in their hands. And now notice what your mind just did when I said that. Wait, what does he mean? He's bragging about how lucky we are to be working with him. Does he mean what? Well, quit thinking, what the fuck does he mean? And listen, be present. Check your breathing. What is up for me at the beginning of this session, and what's been up for me for the last couple weeks about this program? Well, first of all, is I actually take this seriously. This is actually something that is important to me. I put tremendous, huge focus on this program and on you. Now, don't anybody try to make Brian feel good, because you can't. Don't even worry about that. I recommend you forget that with everybody, including yourself. Oh, this gonna be... Drop all that shit and just consider the question I'm asking. Can you tell that I take this and you and your results serious? Can anybody tell that right from the start? Some of you, this is your first program you've ever, you only been on with me for a few hours. Some of you have been with me for quite a while. You can tell that I actually care about you and about your results. Yeah? Awesome. I'm glad. So now when you consider that, you say, wait, well, is this program really that different than any program I've ever done? If you don't know that yet, you might want to pay more attention to realize how different this really is. How far and high and deep I can actually help you to go at the level of mastery and excellence and expertise that I am capable of, while I continue to remind you, because I already got it, that you created me that way. It's not some pride thing for me. I'm not deluded. I remember that you created me. You specifically, Deborah, Jessica, you created me to show up for you when you were ready for this. But what about everybody else? None of your fucking business. You created me to show up for you. And if you will begin to breathe big enough and back up enough to let that in for yourself, wait a minute, I created all that other shit to show up for me then, creating this to show up for me now. I must be in a different place than I was then. I want you to let that in. And I want to tell you that with this fanatical devotion and drive that I have to awesomeness, to the absolute highest benefit for every single person that comes to me for this, listen up. Here's the punchline of this long joke. I was badass a few years ago. Wasn't I, Julio? I was badass years ago. Ain't that right, Andrea? I was badass years ago. Now, though, look the fuck out. I'm serious. I am so serious. My own personal rate of awakening and expansion and letting it in is accelerating while it's expanding. I'm in awe every second, and it ain't slowing down. And for those of you who, quite frankly, if you can be honest with yourself, yeah, you've been on the self-help train for a while, but you ain't let that much really in yet. You know what I mean? You know, there's infinitely more awesomeness available You know what I mean? There's infinitely more of it. It's not like, well, no, I'll bet there's 10% more amazingness waiting for me if I were to just get serious about it. No, fuck no. You have no idea, baby. And I'm not insulting you when I say that you have no idea. You have no idea. And if you think you do, I'll tell you this, I have no idea. So if that helps. If you could see that 99.999999999% of everything you think and believe that you know is such utter fucking bullshit. Now, Brian, that has to be an exaggeration. No, it's not. Everything you think and believe that you know is based on the idea that you're a physical being in a physical universe. And you ain't, and it ain't. So 99.99999% of everything you think and believe that you know is utter, total, and complete bullshit. And to let yourself smile and nod at me when I say that is one thing. But to actually let it in is a whole nother, because your ego says, I would die if I were to let that in. So let's just smile and nod and let's be a good student. And can we get back to some minuscule incremental change so that I can tell myself, at least things are working, but let's don't go to that whole universe crazy shit. So what I'm doing with you, even those last 2 sessions, the orientation work, if you were to watch that with total awareness 10, 20 times, breathing deep, journaling, feeling the feels that come up and moving through them, if you were to do that, you would find your life and your world, because your world is your part of your life, you would find it changing more than you even think possible. You hear me? Because I'm really not bullshitting. Well, Brian, you're just saying your program is so special. Yeah. No, I'm not. I'm saying that and a lot more. And I really want you to get, unless you don't want to, I really want you to get that what's happening here, even right this second with me just looking at you like this, if you would drop your shit that you've been holding on to with 99.99999% of your energy, if you'd let go of it and see who and what is looking at you behind these eyes, and then you relax a little bit and you realize, wait, that's in me talking to me. That alone is enough. And some of you just felt it for a second, didn't you? Some of you just felt that, whoa, wait, if he does that shit. And I didn't even break out the smolder. You know what I'm saying? I didn't even try to crack that part. I'm just looking at you. Surrender that bullshit idea you have about what you are. Surrender that desperate clutching that you're holding, trying to hold fault against other people for what they did. Everything that you're clutching, that you let go of, that energy that was held up in clutching becomes available to you again. I'm bringing it. Will you open up? Because some of you are, and I'm looking at your comments, I'm looking at your private messages, and others of you are going, I'm not really sure this is any different than the other programs that I didn't apply myself to. Keep checking your breathing. All right. So I'll continue on this thread, and then I'm going to invite those people that wanted to bring something up to me. So the word real is really slippery. All those definitions behind the word real, slippery stuff. Real, what's real? What's real? 99.99999% of what you're sure is real is not real. Just, I want to playfully bring up a playful concept, a playful idea with you for a moment. I'll check out all those comments in a few minutes. I want you to imagine that one day you're laying on the grass and you're finally, you're thinking about the last few sessions that we did here. You're thinking about your whole self-help journey up to finding me. And you're just chilling out. You're laying on the grass. I don't know. Maybe you use a little bit of some psychedelic plant assistance. Maybe you don't. It's not necessary. You're laying on the grass and you begin to relax. And you realize, wow, geez, I thought I was relaxed. When I notice all this tension, like, let me let that relax. Let me let that relax. Ooh, man, I like this feeling. And you really relax on the grass. And you're looking up at the sky. And as you relax, you have a sensation that either literally or figuratively, a crack appears in the sky. And the one that is peeks through that crack and shares a wink and a smile at you. You're starting to get it. Keep going. I've been here the whole time. Keep going. Relax a little more. And you go, wait, did that happen or was that the psychedelics? Anybody got a little glimpse, other than Veronica, anybody else got a little glimpse of what I'm talking about? Anybody got a speck of a trace of a hair of what I'm talking about? Oh, you weird people. And the rest of you are like, I would like to experience that. So listen to me, it's happening all the time. Your life isn't real. This world that you think you're living in is not real. You're just so desperately clinging that you don't even recognize how desperately you're fucking clinging. And when you're clinging that tight, you can't see the rainbow that's actually extending from you. So breathe a little deeper, relax a little more. Quit thinking you fucking know anything. Relax. Let tears go. We're all so conditioned that when we get into a society environment, whenever we get into a group, whenever we meet at the Waffle House for our meeting, whenever we join for our session online, whenever we gather together in our house of worship, whatever the hell it is, whenever we get together, we're all supposed to, how you doing? I'm great. How you doing? I'm too blessed to be stressed, brother. How about you? Secretly, I'm dying. Right? Come back, focus. Come back. I must have just jarred the system with that one. Ooh, come back. Come back. There we go. Too blessed to be stressed. Bull fucking shit. If people were to be honest most of the time, I'm fucking falling apart. 23, 6.5. Oh, see, now even you stubborn fuckers that have been sitting looking at me like this the whole time, I say that and you're smiling. Yes, I'm talking about you. If you're smiling right now, yes, I'm talking about you. There's a movie called Grand Canyon that I highly recommend. Grand Canyon. Danny Glover. When you see it, you're going to probably say what I and all the other people I've shared it with said. How the hell did I miss that one? What? Danny Glover, Steve Martin. I mean, it's got a huge, amazing cast. Kevin Kline. movie is absolutely amazing. You got to see it. Nobody's taking notes right now, though, are you? There's a line in the movie where one feminine character is talking to another, and she says, do you ever feel like half of the time you're just completely falling apart, completely coming unglued, losing your sanity, completely miserable? And the woman said, the lucky ones I know feel like that half the time. Everybody else is falling apart and suicidal and losing their shit. And I mean, are we going to really pretend we don't know that? Are we going to really like keep insulating ourselves and playing the happy game? The funny thing is, you let go of the bullshit, you can actually move to the other side of it so fast, but you can't while you're denying and in resistance to it. Life is not real. Be willing to see that crack in the sky open up at any moment. This isn't real. If you haven't read my book, I would say, what the fuck are you doing in this program for? Like, well, go read that first. Get out of the program. Go read the book. It's a quick read. And if you have read my book, go back to the chapter when I tell about what happened by the swimming pool. Read that again. It is very often for us that when we lose our hold on everything, we find out that we have infinitely more than we thought we had. And we're so desperately clinging to the little bag of shit. That's all that we know. At least I have my bag of shit that I've always had. It's like a security blanket with odor. All right, couple more points. Begin to express appreciation. I found myself touching on this one in the orientation. Begin to express the appreciation that you feel fearlessly, courageously, and consistently. Now, as you've seen, I don't mind being self-serving. I'm so focused on serving and helping everybody. I'm totally happy being selfish. So if any of this comes back and benefits me, I'm all for it. Get over it. The minute you feel that what you're getting out of this program with me is worth more than you invested, either invest more and or go on Facebook and tell everybody. Go tell everybody you know about this. Oh my God, this guy is fucking amazing. This program is amazing. I haven't seen anything like it. Make sure that you are, to anyone who is delivering value to you, anyone who has ever delivered value to you. Maybe there's someone that did something for you 6 years ago and you just think about it like, man, that was such a turning point. That was such a gift. Pick up the phone and call them and say, I just want to tell you how much I appreciated that. And I want to be really explicit. And then you notice the fear that comes up, the shyness, the hesitance, the, oh, what are they going to think? This might be weird. That's how you've been killing yourself the whole time. Giving into that, that's weird. That would be, how would they take it? I don't even know what I would say if I was, so then you don't do anything, right? Let's just put it into that. Start to express your appreciation, not just when you go for your walk. I am so grateful because they told me to be. No, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about actually being grateful and appreciative and expressing it, giving value. And a great place to start is to those who have given value to you. Why not? That can start to loosen up the sky where that crack can start to appear, and you start to realize, wait, that was actually me doing that for me. The big me. Make sure you honor the value and the benefits and the blessings that you are receiving from every place else, and put your attention on the places where that value and benefit seems to be coming from. Now, that last minute, I'm telling you, this is one of those things, that last minute, if you take that minute and turn that into a video and you watch it every single day and you soak it in a little bit more, what I just said, did anybody get it? Did anybody like, wait, that shit right there, that thing right there. If you're aiming your appreciation and your gratitude and your thanks and your reflection of value to the areas that are flowing the value and the benefit and the blessing at you. No, that couldn't help. Okay. My last thing, I think, before I get to our who wants help, and then we're going to talk about last week's work and what we're getting ready to do for the next week. So some of you brand new, some of you just joined the last few days. I don't really like this phrase. I'm just going to deal with it. There's something called catching up. And because what we're doing in this program is so unbelievably next level, and you won't know it until you've done it. So you're going to have the project I give you to do, you're just going to have to do it and do it with all your heart and soul to find out that it's as awesome as I said, because you're not going to realize, oh, it's awesome, so I'm going to do it. No, you'll find out how awesome it is when you do it. The 2 orientation sessions, absolutely, utterly, totally, and completely essential. I don't give a damn if you got to give up your standard every week masturbation time or give up a couple hours of sleep. Some of you, if you give up your masturbation time, you won't want to fall asleep as quickly anyway. So give up both of those, you might just, like, you have several hours there that you didn't know. You'll find them, okay? Go through those 2 orientation sessions. Those of you who find yourself either having or creating some extra time, go through every post in this whole, in our Facebook group. There ain't that much there. I did a couple short videos to encourage you. And then you have the 2 orientation sessions. Listen to me. Have it done as quickly as possible. Get it done. Get that work from the orientation sessions. Get it completely done. And completely done is still going to be a relative term. There will be more, even for those of you who really dove in and totally, really applied yourself to that first home play assignment. The rest of this program hinges on it. I didn't know I was going to have to do anything, Brian. I'm not sure this program is for me. You don't have to do anything unless you want the ultimate results out of the program. So here's what I'm not going to do. I'm not going to be a 3rd grade teacher and find out who's late and who's on time and who applied themselves. You'll find out, because those of you who do this with all your heart are going to fly out of your hell into the heaven of your dreams so fast that you're not even going to believe it. And there will be plenty of what seems like more hell along the way. Just don't get hypnotized and think, oh, wait, I thought it was going to go better. Now it's going worse. No, there is no better and there's no fucking worse. You're moving in the direction of what you actually prefer. And very often on the way, you run smack dab into the shit you put between yourself and what you want most. Ain't that right, Rex? Back me up right there. High five, buddy. Shamak. Boom. All right. Somebody's saying they're having connection issues. I am like, my connection is scorching fast right now. So is anybody having an excellent experience of my video and audio? And so if one person is, it's not mine, that's yours. Okay, thank you. What you can do always is get closer to the router or just come to the sessions with an Ethernet cable plugged into. Wait, I just did that, didn't I? God, I swear. Sorry about that. I'm not sorry at all. With your Ethernet cable plugged in. All right. So on this home play thing, listen to me. Those of you who have already really put an hour, 2, 3, 4 into your journaling process from last week. If you have, you're going to be able to start immediately on the next part, which I'm going to describe in just a bit. Everybody else, you got a few options here. You can think, well, this is what I do in every program. I don't do the assignment and I don't get what I came for and I blame the fucking program. You can do that. It'll be fine. Julio, 17 to 18 pages. That's because Julio's fucking serious about this. Really serious about it. All right. Another option is you can say, well, I'm going to, I'll probably do it next Thursday, like right before the session. I'll do it then. I'll cram. Because that's what I've always done. Right? You know who you are. Or you can say, I'm going to actually do this different than I've done anything else. I'm actually going to just do it early and really do it like it matters, because I'm just going to trust, Brian, I've seen the results that you've gotten for people. I've heard some really miraculous stuff, and I keep seeing more and more of it. So I have enough faith that you're probably not doing this program with an intention to fuck us over. So whether I understand it or not, I'm going to dive in. Got it? I'd recommend that. Anybody having a good time? I sure am, and that's what matters to me. So there were a couple people that were messaging me. Now I know there are people who are going to want to speak up today, and I'm here. However, there was one person specifically that brought up something in the group, and I said to that one person specifically, if this hasn't resolved itself, please bring it to the session. Now, was that you, Veronica? That was you? Okay. I had it narrowed down to like one of about 50 people. I sometimes I look at my phone at 3 a.m. if I feel to. And sometimes I glance, and you guys might notice often I'll look at your post and I'll heart it without commenting, letting you know I heard you. I just might not be in a situation. I might be with my kids. I might be in a situation where I'm not going to take the time to get in there and actually respond. Everybody that's on right now and not on video, unless you're taking a crap or driving or walking through a busy place, be on video the entire session. Okay, so unmute, Veronica. And before you speak, though, go ahead and unmute. Before you speak, Veronica. All right. Just say hello. Let me make sure your mic's working.
Hi.
Perfect. Thank you. Oh, that is awesome. Okay, so listen up, everybody. Some of you are very new to me and what I do, and I get that. The more you watch the sessions, the more you go back through my book, the more you go through any Facebook Lives that I've done, the more you soak this stuff in, the more you're going to get out of everything. And ultimately, it's about how present you are while you're on these sessions. Now, last week, I gave everyone a very significant project that's probably very different than anything has ever done before. Really journaling out your life, really analyzing, where am I? What's going on? What's happening here in my life? Let me really get oriented to exactly where which doesn't exist, perceive myself, which doesn't exactly exist, to be, and of course being isn't aware, in this world and life that isn't exactly what I'm perceiving it to be. Where the fuck do I think I am? would be a good way to describe the practice I gave everybody last week. Where do I think that I perceive that I be at on all these topics? And I encourage you to write down your categories of life. And that tells a lot about you right there. Just when you categorize, I believe that the categories of life are, let's see, masturbation, junk food, sitcoms, and everything else. That might be your categories. And if it is, that's going to yield some fruits. You know what I'm saying? So I watched the group and I was really, I feel really thrilled. I feel really joyful to see how many of you commented about your process of doing this writing. How many of you actually took the assignment seriously and did anything, let alone how many of you really dove in? Let me assure you, this is not normal. You hear me? If I was Tony Robbins, or if I was doing one of those 7-day seminars and everybody was in the room for 12 hours a day for 7 days, a fair number of people would actually kind of do the project while the rest sneak out in the hallway to socialize. And some head to their rooms for a nap, and they'll get more serious about the seminar tomorrow. You know what I mean? You've been to that seminar, right? For an online program where nobody's checking your work, this many people actually stepping up and doing it at all, this many people stepping up and doing it seriously, and this many people commenting about the insights. Were y'all guys reading those comments of some of the insights that people had? If you weren't writing, did you read that shit? Oh my God, I dare say that if someone was serious about this program and all they did was just read all the comments of breakthroughs and insights everybody else was having, there would be some insights and some, wow, this might actually not be bullshit. Okay? Some raised some pain points. And we're going to be addressing some of that. Now, those of you who just joined the program in the last couple of days, of course, you didn't get it done. So don't think, oh, I'm behind. No, you're not. Starting now. That I'm behind is what you've always done to yourself. Well, I probably won't. Right, Deanna? I probably won't catch up anyways. And, well, I'll just play along. No. We don't have to do any of the shit we've ever done before. Is Brian reading my mind? What the fuck is going on here? All right, so Veronica, what you got?
I've got two things really.
By the way, everybody, she's from Wales and she talks funny. Just deal with it the best you can. I deal with it. She was here with me for several days and I just had to learn to understand what the fuck she was saying.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Okay. We love it.
Yeah, so the first thing that's like coming up for me, the oil change thing was good, what you did today, because that was kind of like a reminder of what's running along in the background of what I'm telling myself. But basically, I was trying to tap into and clear some emotions around feeling I'm doing things wrong, or that's the biggest one. And I think it's tied into and tangled up with responsibility. But I kind of like, no, I want to clear this, but I can't seem to get into the emotion that I need to clear. It's almost like I'm on a threshold and I'm not quite ready to step over, but I think that I am. Does that make sense?
I get it. Now, everybody, especially Rich, who's thinking, why did he let her say? She said like 7 words there that he would have always grabbed somebody when she said, I'm trying, and he said, that's good. And
yeah.
Why did you let all those words go by, right? Okay. Right now,
yeah.
The issue that you brought up in that conversation, in that post, Veronica, was more important to me as a really an overarching thing. So I let the smaller things kind of drift past that time, which I normally wouldn't do. Let me, I'm going to take a moment to go back to what you actually wrote.
Okay.
And I'm going to pull the essence out a little bit more clearly here. Everybody just breathe. Deep. Present. Curious. All right, I'm just going to read it out loud.
Okay.
Hi, Brian. A bit of advice, please. A fear issue is coming up around getting it wrong, looking stupid, not as competent as others. When I check in with memories, I'm not feeling an emotional charge, and yet my behavior around the topic is irrational. I do wish the emotional release. I am breathing. I don't understand why or what can be the root cause. I feel like I'm working in the dark. What am I doing wrong? Ha, 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 ha.
Yeah. Sorry.
I imagine,
Okay.
and imagine I am getting up. My mom is...
An image. Sorry.
An image. Okay. I was wondering, because this is definitely, there was a couple of things, like it spell checked in quite error. An image is coming up. My mom chewing at her fingers, wide-eyed, shaky, and nervy. Okay, that's enough right there. So, everybody listen. Couple diamonds that I want to drop into your lap here. One. Well, first of all, breathe deeper and get present.
Okay.
Those of you that are very new to what I do, who think, well, right now he's working with Veronica, I'll focus when he gets to me. Veronica is you, and I am you, and this is about you. You'll find how true that is as we go. So, one of the things I have noticed, remember I was talking about, okay, whenever I do my little opening monologue to start the show, and I never know why I'm saying anything I'm saying. I never have any idea. I just feel it and I just go with it. And without exception, later in the session, I get to find out why I said what I said. And this is part of it right here. Well, I've done over 10,000 oil changes. And the oil that I be changing is not under a vehicle. It's in people's minds and bodies and being. And I pay attention every single time. I pay so much attention that, I mean, anyone ever noticed that I don't miss a syllable? Anybody ever really noticed that? Have you, like those of you that are around, you ever notice I don't miss a syllable? Ever? I can be working with you and the person at the opposite side and opposite corner of, when I'm looking at this in gallery view, I see the facial expression, so I know who just thought what and who felt what in relation to what. It's called presence. You can do it. I recommend it. It is superhuman, and so are you. So, one of those things I've learned from all of this doing what I do with the focus that I do is that when somebody starts to really step into their freedom and they finally say, fuck the bullshit, and everything up until now has been bullshit, I am stepping into my freedom here. When someone really does that, one of the things that happens is they'll start to have times when they feel anger or sadness or fear, and they'll have a big cry without having any idea whatsoever what it was about. Now, one of the reasons for that is because you never did know what that shit was about. You just kept telling yourself, I'm sad because blah. I'm angry that blah. It makes me so mad when she blah. No, that feeling's inside of you. Those things happening give you a chance to feel them.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, you doing all right, Deborah? Just checking in. You all good? All right. So that's one thing, Veronica. When you begin to feel the feels and you don't know why, it is actually a great sign. In other words, you are truly moving in the direction you want to go. And very often you won't know what it's about, and you can let go. First of all, you can let go needing to know what it's about. And when you let go any thought about what it's about, you simply feel into it. Don't be surprised if you find a deeper or stronger well of emotion than you could have expected. And one of the things the second thing that I want to tell you that I've seen, some of you have experienced this, especially those that have come out and spent the 4 days with me here. Sometimes you'll bring up a memory, or a memory will come up for you, and you say, oh yeah, I remember that thing that happened. Nothing to it. I don't feel anything. And I just pretend I didn't even hear you, because I'm just waiting for you to relax enough that you realize how much feeling is actually there.
Okay.
You hear? I'm talking like I've had people wailing and rolling on my floor here, sometimes for an hour or more, over something that they say, I got this little memory. It's like this little thing. It doesn't have nothing to it. I'm not going to name anybody. You know who you are. You know who you are that have had those experiences with me. And some of you may have had those experiences not with me. Okay? I will tell a little story here. Veronica, keep breathing. Okay, I don't have to tell the story. So Veronica, just see that image of your mom. See that image of your mom. And just see the image of your mom. Don't worry about what anybody else thinks. You know better. Go ahead and start to let that go. Breathe deep. And feel through your body and see that image of your mom. Nervous? And just keep looking at that image of your mom. Nervous, wide-eyed. Now, everybody, there is something that's up for you right now. If you hear my voice, there's something that's up for you right now. All you got to do is find it and feel it. A memory. Because I'm not working with Veronica, I'm working with you, and that includes Veronica. There's a moment, there's a memory, there's a feeling, there's something that's been up. We are so deep in the work right now that you sitting there holding your normal everyday posture and your normal everyday facial expressions, you just away from it. But right here, right now, you are in it right now. If you just let yourself feel what is up right now, that could be the one thing that if I let go of it today, if I feel it and move through it and let go of it today, will make the biggest difference. It's here right now. Now, Veronica, while you feel and you just keep coming back to the image of your mom, shaking, nervous, eyes open really big, kind of freaking out. Until or unless another image comes in that supersedes that one, I want you to just keep going back to that image, okay?
Okay.
All right. I just got a feeling about something. I don't want nobody on this session to be trying to send no rating. Don't be trying to help. Do not be trying to help. Don't be trying to bring your angel healing rainbow sparkles. Just breathe and feel for yourself. Those of you who say, I'm not getting anything, that's great. Just breathe deeper and close your eyes and feel into your own body. And if something comes up, put your attention there. So Veronica, while you breathe, And while you keep seeing mom's face, chewing her fingers, scared about something, a few months ago, I was doing a session on myself. And this memory came up of being maybe 8 years old, 7 years old, and my dad at the dinner table doing his thing. And if me or my brother or my sister, if one of us, if an elbow touched the table, well, that was unacceptable. Your elbows can't come on. Everybody knows your elbows can't touch the dinner table. What's wrong with you? And he would take the nearest painfully hard object, usually the back end of a heavy metal butter knife, and thwack us on the elbow bone. Not gently, not humorously. This was, somebody was doing an infraction of his limitless rules, and he had a chance to put some pain out of his body into somebody else's. You understand? Keep breathing.
Yeah.
Keep breathing. Anybody who's crying, don't be too quick to wipe those tears away. Let them fucking flow. Many of us are in the habit when the tears start, we want to stop them. We want to catch them quickly before any more come out. Which just quickly dabbing. Quit putting that energy into dabbing your tears. Let them go. Got it? Let them alone. Change your shirt later. Breathe deep. So I remember this one time when I didn't like what we were having for dinner. Now, some of us have Depression era ideas. You know that clean your plate thing? Anybody ever have that one? You got to clean your plate? Yeah. Okay. Anybody ever, that shit was under fear of death sometimes. What? You put shit on my plate that I don't want to fucking eat, and you're telling me I got. Or I'm like, what? These starving children in Africa are because I didn't eat my goddamn Brussels sprouts? What the fuck? I don't even know. I don't understand what you're talking about. But it wasn't funny then, was it?
Yeah.
Okay, so I recall my dad getting up and coming around and stuffing food in my mouth and then putting his hand over my mouth very forcefully. I was very little and he was very big comparatively. And I was like, I've remembered this 100 times in my life. It's no big deal. Yeah, I'm getting stuffed food in my mouth and da. This time though, somehow, as I looked at it for a few more seconds, I cracked open. I started choking and gagging. I felt like I was going to die. I cried like a baby for about 45 minutes. This was just a few months ago. Listen, I thought I was going to die. That little 7, 8-year-old boy was sure he was going to die. He forcefully, violently stuffed food in my mouth and then put his hand over my face where I couldn't chew or swallow or breathe, trying to make sure he was going to force that I fucking finished and swallowed that food. He didn't know that he was making me unable to breathe or chew. Okay? So I was sitting there sure I was going to die. Now, when I remembered it, but see, here's the thing. The pain, the physical pain, emotional pain of that was way too much for me to take. So I buried it so deeply that for the next 40-something fucking years, every time I remembered it was like, oh yeah, I remember that. No big deal. No emotion there. No emotion there. No big deal. How many of those do you think the average person has? And maybe in that way, I am the average person, if you know what I mean. Who knows how many of those we have? Listen, for those of you who still think I'm working with Veronica, let me ask you a question. You do know that you're a fucking nutcase, right? You do know that sometimes you act crazy as fuck about things, right? This is not like some surprise. You all just joined this program because your life is a endless parade of rainbows. Is anybody here not aware that there are areas in your life where you get crazy? I'm like, nobody's giving me any facial. Is my microphone working? Do you guys hear me? You know this, right? Oh, I was like, man, they're just not listening to me. Okay. Can you look at that without coming down on yourself? Some topics I go batshit fucking crazy and I don't know why. Let me help. Let me lead the charge. Yes, there are subjects where I go batshit crazy and I don't know why. Thank you, God. Now keep breathing, Veronica. Yes, there are areas of life where I have been going crazy. And it is because in those moments of being domineered and overtaken and forced by people who were way the hell bigger than we were. And sometimes because we fell and skinned our knee and some idiot was there laughing at us instead of helping us up and hugging us and reminding us to breathe deeply. And we never got that emotion out. And the ones that hurt that severely, we pushed them down. We put more effort into pushing those emotions down than we were able to put into anything else. You get it? Now, if we push that emotion deep enough, we thought we were pushing it away. There's no way when the universe is your body. Do you hear me this time? There is no away. You can't push anything away. You only push it in further. And you can push it in and build enough defenses around it that you don't feel it at all anymore. I got you guys on the microphone thing. I muted it. And the yard guys just got here. I don't know. Is anybody here in my front yard? Because that'll only go for a few minutes and then it'll be on. Keep on, Veronica. So listen, Veronica could have had a moment where she was very little. She could have been in her mother's womb. She could have been in her mother's womb, or she could have been sitting in the high chair, barely able to sit up, and it was time to eat. And her mom just got a phone call or a message about the worst news that she could imagine. And she was terrified out of her fucking mind. And this is the woman Veronica looks to for life. Now, do you think that you, even with your perfect rainbow sparkle pony life, do you figure there was ever possibly a moment when you were really, really, really little? Breathe deeper. Some of you are getting into your professional pose that you get in to avoid feeling. Do you figure that it's possible that even you, if anybody's not listening to me with 100% attention, you might as well get off the session now. Because if you don't get it now, you ain't going to get it. I mean that. A moment when you were there, super young, super impressionable, maybe pre-verbal. You weren't in a place where you could have spoken what you were feeling, thinking, and they couldn't speak it in a way that you could understand it maybe at your level of development. And one of the adults that you looked to for survival was losing their shit. You think that's possible? Okay, are you willing to let in right now that may have happened more than once? How would a 1 or 2 or 3-year-old feel in that moment of watching their parent, who they look to for sanity and stability, coming unglued? Perhaps with verbal or physical violence at you. Perhaps. Though that's not even necessary. And if it's pre-verbal, you will have a very fuzzy memory of it. It'll just be like a little picture like Veronica had. And by Veronica, you choosing to feel this right now and just feeling it. And the minute you quit thinking that you needed to know what it was or figure it out or try to string the thoughts together, and you just let go and see the image that you're seeing, Feel that memory, that little glimpse of memory that you're getting, Randy, in those moments. Christine, when you have that feeling that you have right now, it's there, and all you got to do is just tune into it a little bit more, and the dam will break, and you'll be snotting and tearing all over your sweater, which is actually what we want here. That's why we're here. We're not here to fill our heads with more ideas. There's plenty of programs for that. When these things come up, you let go and you feel it. You focus in the area that you never have because everything else in your life has always told you not to. Ryan, they told me at the Abraham cruise, they told me to just focus on the positive only. Yeah, you don't know what the fuck positive means, and neither do they. If we really want to use words, maybe right now, Veronica feeling the sadness is the most positive thing she could possibly do that would move her in the direction she wants to go. Sorry, law of attractioners. Not sorry. So feel through your body, Veronica. You by now you know exactly what to do. When it gets like that, you know what to do. Find the place in your body where the strongest physical sensation is, and you dive straight into the middle of it, touching it physically from the outside with a couple fingers if you want. Helps you to feel the sensation, to feel where is it that that frozen emotion is lodged in my body. You give all your attention there, and the laser of your focused awareness actually dissolves the frozen energy. That you could figuratively say it dissolves the chains that are holding that little you at that age frozen at that point, so that she can reemerge into you, bringing her knowledge, her awareness, her memories, her intelligence, her creative capacities to merge with you, and suddenly you're sane in that area again after all these years. What if I told you that trying to figure out what it's about is one of the main techniques that you mastered to prevent yourself from feeling? And I am only talking to you, by the way. What if that trying to figure out what it is, trying to remember, trying to figure out what it's about, what if that's one of the brilliant tactics that you develop to prevent yourself from feeling it? As long as I can just sit here for 10 or 15 more minutes trying to figure out what it was, I'll be able to forget what I was doing in the first place, and I'll be able to avoid this and continue with my miserable fucking life just the way it is, and that issue unhandled. Any chance of that, boys and girls? Any chance of that? There is a little chance of that. Uh-huh. So stay with it, Veronica, just like that. In case anybody missed it, I just want to read something. Roxanne just said, second grade, too shy to interrupt the teacher. I peed my pants, kids laughed, is the memory that came up. You talk about devastating end your life on the spot moment. So Roxanne, if you go into that right now with everything that you got and you replay the memory while you're breathing deep, because I'll bet you $1 billion, anytime that memory even started to come up, you stopped breathing. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. You bring that up. You're standing right there in the class. And everybody sees it. And the drips are still hitting the floor. And everybody's laughing. There's no way. You don't know how to turn invisible as much as you want to. There's no escape. And the irony is that it could have been any one of those kids. But they're all so pressured into laughing at the expense of others to get out of their own pain about being forced to be at school away from their mommy and daddy. It's a relief to them to be able to laugh. In truth, none of them was really wanting to attack you. But that doesn't make it any less painful in your perception. So this is a moment, Roxanne. You, my love, have been absolutely as batshit motherfucking crazy as anybody I've ever seen, including myself, Roxanne. You and I have done the batshit, okay? You don't like the way that the fruits that it yields in your life. And that is a moment to happen in front of all the kids at school, even your friends, who, of course, we had very different definitions of friends back then, didn't we? And your enemies and everything else. For that to happen at that age, I'm telling you right now, it has been affecting you and your sanity and your ability to effectively communicate with people for your entire life since then in ways that you have no idea. You've never made a connection. And if you feel it right now while it's up, if you keep replaying it and replaying it and replaying it over and over with total attention, replaying in your mind, bring more details out every time. When you see how your life and your relationships are different after you've handled all the emotions of this, Roxanne, now everybody, you know I'm talking to you by now, right? Pam, you know I'm only talking to you, right? If you hear my voice, I'm only talking to you. So listen, here's something you can do with these type of scenarios. After you feel you've cried it all out, after you feel you might have cried it all out, you really feel done, keep breathing, keep breathing. At your nearest time opportunity, I encourage you to go and stand in front of a big mirror. If you have a full-length mirror, yes. If not, good old bathroom mirror, you know, from the boobies up is good enough. Go to the mirror and stand there and tell the entire story of what happened to yourself. And when you've told the entire story, just keep breathing deep, tell the entire story again. You can literally tell it 10 or 20 times. Well, but I've already told it. It's irrelevant. That has nothing to do with it. Tell it again. And the next time, don't be surprised if you actually remember a detail. Wait, my friend Katie was wearing a blue shirt. I can see it. You'll have more details come in. It'll get clearer and clearer and clearer. And as it is becoming clearer and clearer and clearer, the emotion is diminishing and you are becoming clearer and clearer and clearer. And when these incidents that hold such unimaginable agony and pain, when these incidents are handled and you go out into the world to live your next day or days, you're going to be so blown away at how different. You're going to actually begin to notice, wait, this is the moment where I normally went into that crazy shit. Why am I not going into the crazy shit? I never was able to witness the crazy shit because I was so busy doing the crazy shit. But now I actually witness, right? And Andrea is nodding. There's a couple people that have actually done things like this with me now enough. They're actually, no, wait, this is how it works. All right, everybody, just stay with me. I want to make a comment here. There's a couple people in the program who I've noticed it on their Facebook profiles. Strange change, but it doesn't matter. Roxanne, stay with it. Veronica, nothing's changing here. You stay right where you are. Stay with it. I noticed this, and I decided last night I wanted to address this. There's a few people who are in this program that on Facebook, they don't actually have a picture of themselves. They have a picture of a dog or a picture of a tree or a picture of whatever. And there's a couple reasons why people do that. One of the reasons is because of facial recognition. They don't want Facebook, having all that information. That's cool. I can dig that. In this program, that doesn't work for me. So if you join the program and you're one of those people that's secret on Facebook and you join this program and you're not going to be on video, private message me and I will refund your money. Nobody else in this program. I'm not doing refunds on this program. I made that clear from the start. Those of you who aren't willing to come on video and be real with everybody else, private message me after the session. I'll give you your money back. Just wanted to get that out of the way. So just keep breathing through that, Veronica. Charlotte said, my mother, I'm going to guess that means left. It looks like left me for 2 months to go to another city far away to have her second child. I ended up in the hospital with pneumonia or bronchitis. Okay, now, everybody relate to that. Everybody feel that. Here I was desperately needing my mother, and she left. Now that's enough. Mom left. That's enough. Oh, but wait. She left to go far away. Oh shit, kill me now. Right, Charlotte? Just fucking kill me now. She left and went far away. But wait, there's more. She left to go to a city far away to have her next child. Looks like I just got tossed on the trash heap. Anybody got an older brother or sister? I'm sorry, a younger brother or sister? Anybody got a younger brother or sister? And our parents did not know how to love us and reassure us completely and explain to us and help us to see and understand. Did it? These are things that are absolutely, utterly, totally, and completely devastating to a child. And especially when our parents were brain dead zombie morons emotionally, who no fault of their own. It was just that was what was handed to them as well, right? So that's what they handed to us. Now, everybody just look at Veronica. Look at how it's lightening up. Not to say she won't have more crime, but I don't just mean that she's smiling. I mean, look at her face lightening up. Even while she's crying, look at it. That weight is lifting out of her cells of that emotion that's been in there all along. And every time she ever sensed anybody being nervous, there was potential of that bringing that panic back and her feeling like she was around her mom and about to die. You get it? You get it? Now, well, Brian, what does that have to do? Everything. It has to do with everything. The anger and sadness and fear that you're carrying around, frozen in your cells, locking up a little you at that age, frozen in a world with that emotion forever. Nah, you're right. There's nothing to that. It's okay, Charlotte. You'll see it. Now, listen to this. Listen to this. I was 3 when my mother asked me to stop calling her mom, to call her by her first name. And we all say, whatever. You have no idea what that might have meant to a 3-year-old child. And not to every 3-year-old child. Because if the relationship with the mother was a deep, loving, warm, completely connected, safe relationship, that could be explained, right? But when mom's a little bit cuckoo herself because of all the emotions that she hasn't felt and moved through, and I know none of us had parents that were cuckoo at all, ever. Samantha said the memory that comes up for me is my mother's attempted suicide and me trying to convince her that she was a good mom so she wouldn't try to leave me again. Definitely no emotional intensity to that experience. And always remember, I'm not making light of it. I'm reminding you that it's all lights. Your emotions about this are important, even though the incidents technically never happened. So we just honor those emotions. And it's not about something else I want to really underline. Veronica said something I really want to clear, something I want to clear, something I want to clear. I get it and I understand. At the same time, everybody, if your intention is to clear your emotion, if your intention is to get rid of your emotion, if your intention is to solve that problem, you just made your hurting little inner child something to get rid of, something to dissolve, something to release, and a problem. I don't advise that at all. Everybody out there who's talking about dissolve your subconscious blocks, unfucking subscribe immediately, but only if you want to be happy. And now that I've said it, you look on Facebook for the next 15 minutes and you're not on session. We don't go elsewhere, but after the session, look at how many people are talking about blocks. Clear this. Break through your abundance blocks. Ain't nobody got no fucking abundance blocks. You have emotions inside of you that you haven't felt that are locking up little frozen yous at that age, and they're not available to you. So on that topic, they hijack your mind and your mouth and your behaviors, and you do crazy fucking shit that you don't understand. Nobody around you understands it. And in those moments when that little 3-year-old, 4-year-old is hijacking your mind and your mouth and your behaviors, you can't explain what you just did to yourself or any fucking body else because the little child is running the show. You don't want to clear that. You want to feel that child and let that child be felt completely. And when they're felt completely, they will re-emerge into your resources. And all that anger, sadness, and fear will once again become infinite possibilities, resources that are available for you. Got it? Check your posture and check your breathing right now. Are you either sitting up completely straight or laying flat on your back completely straight, or are you hunched over in a way that's locking your fucking diaphragm up so that you'll still be just as miserable tomorrow? Just understanding it mentally a little bit better. Notice how much of the time you've been sitting in postures where you're leaning over, locking up your diaphragm where it can't move. Listen up, everybody. I was in the 1st grade, took my pants off when some kid told me to. I was so embarrassed, I ran across the street. Everyone laughed, even the teachers. Now, in a way, we look at the humor of that. Oh, how cute, how innocent. To be the child at that moment. Devastating beyond devastating. Crushing and frozen in our bodies until this moment. Mom spreading trash in the backyard to feed the little people, 12 years old. She was bipolar to the max without meds. Then I had to tell my dad that it was happening again, feeling like I was betraying my mom, knowing she would go away again to the institution. So I had to deal with either a batshit crazy mother fucking my world up and making me crazy and terrified and all this shit, or tell and lose my mom again. So now is the time to feel those things completely. Either sit up straight, Roxanne, or lay back on your back so your spine can be straight so that your diaphragm can really move. Okay? I understand. We're in the house. Listen, we learn to cry like this. And we go over like this to cry and we lock our diaphragm up. That thing can't move. There's no way we can move enough air to let that emotion completely process and come out. Self-perpetuating loops. And nobody told us. My mom having boyfriends and me being totally freaked out about that. Felt unsafe and afraid. Now I'm gonna make a wild guess here. Everybody consider this. Here's my mom and she's got boyfriends and I don't understand it. I'm totally freaked out and I feel totally unsafe and afraid. What do you figure the chances are of that little girl growing up to have sane, competent, balanced, purely preferential, amazing, intimate relationships with men in her life later? What are the chances? And never knowing why, and then being willing to reach this place of honesty where she's willing to look and bring it up and feel it and move through it. Now, I don't know about you. Right now, my chest, my heart, my chest, just I feel this massive, huge openness. Keep breathing deep. So much emotion can move so quickly in a situation like this. This much honesty pouring out of people. And one thing, if you're not feeling this, you ain't paying attention. Who is feeling anything right now like, I had no idea that everybody else was as fucking crazy as me? I had no idea that everybody went through the madness and lunacy and pain as much as I did. Is anybody having like, wow, fuck? I mean, because you look around, we all know how to look pretty professional, don't we? We all come to the session. Hi, how you doing? Oh, it's great over here. Yeah. And look at this conversation. I was 4, first grade. We moved from one house to another. I suppose my parents showed me how to get to school. For 1 week, they dropped me off at the bus station and I was lost. I found the bus station to go home until the teacher complained to my cousin that I was missing school. Then my parents transferred me from that school to another school closer to home. I still don't remember how did I feel and how did I spend my time. And you have felt pretty fucking crazy much of your life since then, haven't you? So what you do about this, what you do in these situations is you just remember as much as you can. And you focus there. All of our lives, everyone around us for their own reasons has told us, don't even think about that. You don't even look at that. Don't even talk about that. Just focus, just be positive. Be positive. Be positive. Well, I can tell you one thing. I'm positive that you're going to stay fucking crazy until you feel this and move through it. How about that? Well, we can just change the definition of positive. So what I recommend that you do is start right now and bring your awareness to that. Now, something you can do is you can go to the bathroom mirror and tell that story. Now, listen, you who just told me that about the school thing, you go to the mirror and you look in the mirror and you tell the story the best you can. And then the minute you're done, tell it again. Yeah, but am I going to really tell the exact same details? You're going to tell the exact same details and more details will emerge. And when you get that hidden mass of blacked out, I don't know what the fuck happened, when you bring it out, you're going to remember things, some of which you prefer to remember, some of which you don't prefer, but it doesn't matter. Feel it, remember it, let it come out. You're going to make it through. As long as you're keeping your spine straight and you're breathing deep, you can get through anything. Has anyone here ever noticed all that crazy shit that happened in your life? You actually lived through it till now. Have you ever noticed that? So when you think, I don't know if I would make it through if I was to bring that up and really, I don't know if I could make it if I faced that. I don't know. I mean, I might, come on, some of us have thought that, haven't we? I don't know if I was to face that and feel it, it might kill me. Honey, it didn't kill you then. If you fucking lived through the experience, you can damn sure live through the memory of it. The thing is that remembering it and bringing it into the light of consciousness, it loses all of its charge over you, and your life is going to change in ways that you can't even imagine because those parts aren't available to you. They're hidden in your unconscious. Bring them out. Tell the story again and again and again to the mirror. You'll also notice that you've been sensationalizing some of the emotions and you emphasizing parts of the story and diminishing parts of the story. The more you tell it, the more it's going to come out clearly. And every time it gets even a speck more clear, the emotion becomes a little bit less until it's just a memory with no charge and no ability to affect you. When I was 9, my dad was diagnosed with stage 4 bone cancer. And that summer, my parents sent me to my grandparents in another state. And I was sent to my aunts and uncles, always moving around until school started again. I never understood why I couldn't just stay home and help my mom and be with my dad before he died. Okay, that has been affecting you ever since, affecting you in ways that you don't even know. And so journaling that out completely in detail, telling the story at the mirror, coming back to the journaling and adding those details, all of that emotion will be dissolving while the story is getting clearer and clearer. Things that you had overemphasized and sensationalized in your little mind, understandably, will start to fall back into balance. You become sane in these areas where we've been crazy. It is all so worth doing. It's so worth doing. I remember sitting at the picnic table with my mom and sisters. The neighbor was cutting grass and a rock flew up and hit my mom in her head. I remember blood and fear, but not anything after that other than thinking that she was going to die and her screaming. I have a similar one. Somebody was cutting the grass across the street and they hit my grandmother. And I could tell that shit affected me big time. For the rest of my life, if I was ever driving down the road and somebody was cutting the grass, I'd go, I'm not kidding at all. I'm totally not joking. So that feeling's still there. One time, my aunt and my mother and I were waiting at the bus station. They got in the bus driver closed, and I was standing there with anger and sadness. Then I took the next bus, and when I got to the destination, they were just laughing. While I was dealing with anger, they were just laughing. Now, listen. Some of you who think, I can't believe you fucking idiots are talking about all this dumb childhood shit. I mean, I got real issues in my life. Listen to me. Those real issues in your life are because of these childhood issues. Do you hear me? Thank you, Rich. Nothing's big or little. I told you this program wasn't going to be normal. Will you let yourself, even those of you that are feeling the emotion right now, will you let yourself divert one speck of your attention to contemplate this I'm about to say? That I want you to consider for a moment how different this actually is from anything else you've ever done. Actually notice what's different about it and how different it is. This conversation happening at all with this many people all over the planet, this many opportunities And I'm going to tell you, and I like, ooh, if I could yell something in all caps, if I could scream it in all caps, if I had to get naked and dance on the gong here to make sure I had your attention. If everybody here, and some will, and some won't, and that's just how it is. If everybody here would spend the next week doing what I've said on this session so far of bringing these situations up, feeling through them, telling the story again and again and again and again, and journaling it out. And then we came to the next session having done so. Well, fuck next session. Between now and then, just the things that are going to happen in our Facebook group would absolutely, utterly, and completely blow everybody's minds here, including me. You hear me? So I'm gonna go down a side road that I just encourage you to trust. That's right on the main road here. Okay. Everybody take a look. You can mouse over. If you're in speaker mode, click to put it in gallery mode and find Renita and take a look at her for a minute. Just keep breathing. Those of you that are in the emotional experience, don't come out of it. You don't have to. Just find Renita and take a look at her. This lady got to my house a little bit over a year ago. And listen, only if I'm way off in my numbers, Renita, only if I'm way off, I want you to correct me. But I'm going to be close enough. It ain't going to fucking matter, okay? She got to my house 67. She turned 68 while she was here, but she wasn't here for a year. She had a birthday, close to that. So she was 67 when she got here. This woman had been living, squashing herself down into a superficial existence her whole life, not just the 50 years of her marriage, but her whole life, and especially in the marriage, squishing herself to fit everybody else, living in the middle of acres and acres and acres of genetically modified crops that were being sprayed, 70 pounds overweight-ish, according to what people call overweight. Lots of extra stuff on her body. She was limping. She could barely walk. When I got to the airport, I had to help her get into my truck by getting under her butt, which was bigger than me. Okay, and I had to boost her up into the thing with my shoulder. Pretty accurate, right, Renita? And she's 60 or 70 pounds lighter right now in her body, which is not the biggest change that has happened to her. Her mind is clearer. Her emotions are clearer. She's speaking her truth. She's doing things entrepreneurially that she started at 68. Okay? Most of all, though, watch her smile on these sessions, because if you see her picture the day that she got to my house, which we may share that at some point, and then you look at this woman, you'll say, that is not that's not possible. Well, Brian, it took a whole year. No, it started the minute that we started talking together. And it's been constantly expanding into more awesomeness. And here she is in this program now. Okay. I'm telling you that you can change more than you ever would dream possible. And really, I'm telling you that you can change more in the direction you want to go than you can imagine possible, because right now, the one imagining is not the real you. It's the trapped, confused nutcase carrying all this emotion and all this bullshit that you think you believe you know. Well, certainly he's talking about everyone else, not me. Sorry, babe. Talking to you. There's people on this session right now who were absolutely certain that they had asthma when they found me. And now they realize that they don't even know what the fuck asthma is, and that they never did. You see Rex? Everybody see Rex? Handsome guy without a whole lot of hair on top, in a blue shirt with beautiful green behind him, smiling. You see that? That motherfucker wasn't doing a lot of smiling before we met. He's been through some major shit that you don't even want to hear about. If you knew the emotional change that happened to him in about, I don't know, 45, 50 minutes, if you really knew, and you can ask him, I would make a bet, and I might be wrong. I'm not volunteering him. He has the right to say no. Those of you that say, I just want to hear about it. Rex, could we talk? See if he's open to have a conversation with you, or maybe you guys do a hangout together or something, a Zoom call together, and let him tell you. Okay? Those of you that think, well, yeah, but I don't know. I mean, for me, I'm glad I joined the program and all, but I really don't know. Maybe I'm too far gone. Rex, you weren't too far gone, were you? Might have thought so at that point. Okay. In a fight with my second child, with that sister who was the second child, I threw a slipper at her. This is from Charlotte, who said, mom left, went out far away to have that second child. I threw a slipper at her. It cut her forehead and she cried. She bled profusely, scared me to death. Now, those two stories are the same story, if you know what I mean. Take my mom far out of town, bitch, I will kill you. If I wanted to play with my sister and her friends, I had to be the redheaded stepchild and let them spank me. I would. They would throw crickets and granddaddy long legs on me. Times I would cry to come in their playhouse. I was a terrified little girl and sweat awfully at night because stuffed animals around me, all around me, and I would burn up afraid to come out from under the covers. Listen to me. Rex, Renita, Christine, Jessica, Elka. Listen to me. We're all that little kid. Still hiding under the covers. Still embarrassed and ashamed that we touch ourselves and it feels good down there in our privates. Still afraid to ask for what we want because we know what happens when I ask for what I want. Until we're not. And the doorway to being from that to living the way we want to live is to go through these feelings. Now, Rex, Renita, Julio, I'm just naming a few people that I know for sure have gone through some major feelings with me. Okay? Veronica, Rosemary, Mira, John. He and I did a day together in Atlantic City months ago, and he's going to be sitting here with me in just another month or so, doing the 4 days together. Those of you who have truly moved through some extreme emotions that beforehand you never dreamed you would go through those emotions. You didn't really know the emotions were really there to go through. You knew that your life fucking sucked and you were confused, and sometimes you were a psychopathic asshole to yourself and others, and you didn't know why you were so fucking crazy. You didn't know why you were so fucking miserable. You really didn't know. You couldn't know. Those of you who have actually now one or more times gone through a massive emotional upheaval experience with me and come through it to the other side one or more times, did it make the difference in that area of life or did it not? Just watch for a few heads to nod, those that I just called on. Okay. Have you had a time yet where you went through a major emotional upheaval of this type where you really felt it and you really went through it and nothing whatsoever changed? Now, wait, but Brian, but wait, Brian. I can't honestly say that everything changed. No shit. No shit. You got plenty more emotions to go through. Those of you that your life ain't the way you want yet, what if I told you, here's how simple it is? Ooh, wait a minute. Ooh, this might, ooh. Anybody tuned in right now? Anybody listening? Anybody? Nobody's waiting for the good shit. We're all here, right? Listen to this. What if I said, ooh, Mira, thank you. Ooh, I'm going to come right back to that one. What if I said to you that if you're not living the life you want, it's only and always because of the emotions you haven't moved through yet? But Brian, no, I'm sure there's other things that I believe. You know, I met with this belief change expert, and they told me that was my unconscious beliefs that are causing the problem for me. I say, listen, you can change a fucking belief in 12 seconds by learning a new piece of information. That ain't that big of a deal. It's the emotions that are the issue, and the trauma in the tissues. Now, is it true that very often the trauma and the stuff in the tissues is bound up with beliefs? Fuck yeah. All the conclusions that you reached about the fact that you were a worthless piece of shit and you couldn't count on women and life is hard, and then they leave you and then you stand there with your dick out in class and everybody's laughing at you. Yes. Oh my God. All of it together. Now, I get it, and that's gold. So a couple people just got that. Listen to me. Listen to me now. If your life ain't the way you want it to be, and you haven't been able to change it, it's those frozen emotions, the trauma stuck in the tissues of your body, and nothing else. He couldn't possibly have just said that. Oh, yeah, I did. You don't have to take my word for it. All right, it's gotten about as warm as I can take, so I'm going to turn the air on. Here comes a little noise. All right, I'm going to look up something real quick. Everybody hang on with me for a sec. All right. Now I'm going to tap on to something here. Very closely related. And actually, everybody just take a couple of deep breaths, or dip breaths if you prefer. Just dip or deep breaths, whatever you want. I'm gonna change the topic a bit, and this is still on topic. It's just gonna go to a different realm, and this is gonna be one of the things that some of you, when I say this, it's going to be the most significant key for you yet, especially those of you who feel frustrated about your results if you've been at this for a while. Some of you that have been working with me for a while actually sometimes still feel frustrated. Yeah, but Brian, what about that? What about that? What about that? First thing I want to say is you just ain't got there yet. You just ain't got there yet. When your leg is caught in a fucking bear trap and you're trying to adjust your necktie so that you look better, you're missing the point, babe. Okay? Got that? Did anybody not understand what? Please don't be embarrassed if you didn't understand. But if you didn't fully understand what I just said, please let me know so I can clarify it. When your leg is caught in a fucking bear trap and you're bleeding and it's crushing the bone and you're trying to adjust your necktie or does my hair look good? You're missing the point, babe. Got it? Ain't nobody asking me for more clarity, so I think everybody got that one. All right. Smart bunch, aren't you? All right. This is super important what I'm saying. I want to touch what Elaine just said. I might be able to weave it back in and make this even more awesome. Elaine said, when emotions come up, they get stuck in my throat and then fade. Okay. First thing, Elaine. Let me get back over to my other window where I can see Elaine. Where the hell did she go? Oh, there she is. All right. So, Elaine, let me unmute you for a minute. Somebody's going to be my memory jogger in case I do lose my lose track for a minute. So, let me check your mic, Elaine. Oop, not hearing you. Say something now.
Can you hear me?
There we go. Yep, volume's really low. I can hear you though. Okay, so I don't know how far I'm going to go on this with you. I do want to address this. The first thing is you said when emotions come up, they get stuck. You probably know the word I'm about to say. It's bullshit.
Yeah.
And everybody who's new to me goes, God, he's an asshole. Why does he do it like that? No, I'm not. She's telling me what is when she only knows what was. So do you know absolutely positively beyond the shadow of a doubt, Elaine, that if you have an emotion come up now, it'll get stuck in your throat?
No.
Do you know beyond the shadow of a doubt that the moment will ever come again when an emotion will come up and it will get stuck in your throat?
No.
No. Now I want you to feel the one who said no, because you've been around me a little bit somewhat now. You've been catching on. I have definitely seen you at times really diving into this and applying. So this is one of these things. Everybody, 100%. No, he's working with her. He's not working with me. I can take a break and think about the next Backstreet Boys album. No, stop and come back. Be present. This is for you. What I'm on right now is how to maximize your results from all this and some of the pitfalls that we create for ourselves to prevent ourselves from actually becoming free. Okay? So, Elaine, when you answer it this time, you're doing great, by the way. When you answer me this time, I want you to actually feel the one who answers. Feel you're the one who says the word, okay? Feel it. And let yourself say it with total authority and feel what happens in your body. Can you know beyond the shadow of a fucking doubt that ever again in your life an emotion will come up and get stuck in your fucking throat? Yes or no?
No.
Feel what's going on inside of your body right now. Feel the confusion. Feel the, wait a minute, what? Because right now, you don't know. And that means when you don't know, you're actually infinitely more free than you were when you were bullshitting yourself about what you thought you fucking knew. So listen to me. Every one of us has a 1 or 2 1,000 or 5 or 10, 20,000 things we could say. Well, when this happens, that happens. And you're full of shit. Fortunately, blessed beyond measure, you are full of fucking shit for almost everything that you think that you know. Because if you were right that when emotions come up, they get stuck in your throat, I'd just say, well, fuck, go do the law of attraction. You don't want to work with me because I'd help you be free of that. You don't want that. This is obviously very important to you that you know that continues to happen. But the irony is that you don't know that it happens. You only know that up until now it happens. Now, feel the freedom. Doesn't mean that it's all handled completely, but I never said that. Feel right now that you don't know that it still happens. And then compare how that feels. So we're going to do a little experiment here, just you and me. You ready? Everybody pick one of those things that you could say that's totally as full of shit as what Elaine just said. When blank happens, blank happens. Got it? Okay. So what I want to have you do, Elaine, is close your eyes, feel your gut, feel your belly. Feel into your body just as much as you can. Don't have to get it right or wrong. And just feel in your body. And then I want you to please say out loud while you're feeling your body, breathe. I want you to say out loud while you're feeling your body. When emotions come up, they get stuck in my throat.
When emotions come up, I get stuck.
Now feel what happens in your body when you say that. Feel the face. It's like a rat crawled in your mouth and died. In your gut. Okay, now shake your butt for a second. Wiggle your little tailbone like a puppy wagging tail. Okay, now reset. And I want you to please say out loud, up until now, when emotions came up, they got stuck in my throat.
Up until now, when emotions came up, they got stuck in my throat.
Now, what do you feel different with that second set? And if you don't mind, say it really loud, because for whatever reason, your microphone's coming low.
I feel a lot lighter.
Isn't that interesting? She feels a lot lighter because she didn't speak shit out of her mouth the second time. Now, you want to go into real awesome land, Elaine?
Yes.
Let's do it. Let's do it. So here's what I want to encourage you now. Wiggle your tailbone. Little tail wag. Whee! Okay, now get ready. I want you to say, up until now, I perceived.
Up until now, I perceived
That when emotions came up, they got stuck in my throat.
that when emotions came up, they got stuck in my throat.
But actually, I have no fucking idea.
But actually, I have no fucking idea.
Now see how your body feels.
Like nothing.
Exactly. There's nothing there. Now, that doesn't mean that we've handled the entire issue completely. What it means is that you get a chance to feel the difference between lying your ass off to yourself based on the bullshit you have believed up until now. Now, I'm not disputing that you've had that experience. So what I encourage you to do is know that it isn't true. You see that it isn't true that it happens. It's only true that it happened. And ultimately, when you really get honest, you just perceive that it happened. You don't really know for sure that that was even exactly what was happening. So with that not knowing, you're now open to find out what happened. So now you can say, wow, I'm noticing I've got some emotion up and I'm feeling in my throat. I'm going to really breathe through this deeper than I ever have. Does this remind me of anything? And I'm going to go a little further. So stay with it, Elaine. Everybody stay with me. As you might imagine, stay with it, Elaine. As you might imagine, when someone's doing oil changes, keep breathing. Stay present, everybody. If you're yawning or if anything else is happening, it might not be sleepy. You might be letting something go. Stay breathing deep, feeling your body. Now, when you change oil in vehicles, one of the first things you notice is you always go under the car because it has never happened in the history of this planet that somebody opened the oil lid on top and the oil floated out through the top into their container. It doesn't happen that way. The oil drains out the bottom. You got that much? Everybody got that? You don't have to work at Jiffy Lube for 6 years to learn that way. You go under the car and at the very bottom of the oil pan, at the very bottom where the oil can drain out of the lowest point in the oil pan, that's where the bolt is that you take out to let the oil drain out. Everybody got that? Rocket Science 101, okay? Now, you find that out quick like. So nobody ever goes to the exhaust pipe to drain the oil. You just learn that on day fucking 1. Keep breathing. It's not as stupid as it sounds. Nobody opens the radiator to drain the oil. You just don't do that. You learn on day 1. It's basic. And after you've changed the oil a few times and you know for sure it's going to be a bottom, you could go to any vehicle ever made and you can find where the oil would drain out if there's oil in the engine that needs oil changes. You got it? Everybody got it? Well, one of the things that you notice when you're doing spell break and when you're doing transformational work, you do begin to notice some trends. Like usually there's a plug in the bottom of the fucking oil pan of some kind, either a valve that you open or a plug that you unscrew that lets the oil out. If they ever design a vehicle that needs an oil change and they don't put a plug, you're going to have to suck the oil out with a straw out of the top, and that's going to suck. Okay? So it's just common sense. After a while, you take the plug. What's he talking about? Where's he going with this? I don't know where he's going. Why is he going? That means you ain't present. Listen up. But one of the things you notice when you start doing this gosh darn transformational work that actually works, when you start doing transformational work that works, you start to notice that getting this emotion out is the thing. And very soon, like, 10, 20,000 spell breaks in, you'll notice, wait, a lot of this shit seems to center around the throat. A lot of this stuff seems to have to do with that throat chakra thing people are talking about, Now, why would that be? How many times do you imagine someone told you to shut the fuck up? How many times do you imagine the average child was physically forced to shut the fuck up? Either with physical hands-on force, or at the very least, a threat of force that was enough that even the most boisterous and resistant among us realized we better shut the fuck up right now, or it's about to get really painful in here. Yes? Now, there's no way that having another human being physically force you to not express what you really feel, there's no way that's going to be traumatic. Especially if it's your mommy or daddy who you look to for love and support and existence. That's no way that that's going to be a big deal. Wrong. So very often, we could say we have had an experience, something like, in some way, shape, or form, that our emotions come up and they get to the throat and right? It's kind of interesting how many of us can kind of relate to that in some kind of sort of way. So Elaine, the thing for you to do is just like me sitting at the table with my dad forcing food down my throat, and I was sure I was going to die. Every time I ever did any kind of healing session on myself, every time I went to anyone else and was having a really intense healing experience of emotion coming up, I would cough. Sometimes like I was going to puke. Like it would be like, I really felt like I was going to puke. Anybody else? Anybody else? Lots of us. I hear you, Deanna. Now that's important. So Deanna, that's the experience right there, that you want to breathe, you want to remember it, you want to feel it right now, not later, now. You want to bring it up and feel it and close your eyes and go into that experience, welcome it and feel it all. Because you've told yourself you don't feel anything about it. Yes, go ahead and do it. I want to die because my life sucks so bad. But actually, the real you didn't want to. So that emotion that's repressed in those situations, you want to bring them up, go through them. Now, this throat thing is a really, 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 really big deal. Expressing it is a really, really, really big deal. This is one of the most significant things that you can do. When that emotion comes up and you feel, well, I've had this emotion come up and get stuck, that's when you go in and you feel it and you remember the situation completely. You go to the mirror and tell the story. Talk it all out. It's great sometimes, like with this many people in the program, I'm not able to do 30 spell breaks every session. I'm not going to be on 29 hours a day, you know what I mean? However, everybody can still have the breakthroughs. Everybody can get what they came for. What I'm telling you to do is take this to the mirror and tell the story in every detail. And then he grabbed me by the throat, and I remember thinking, please kill me. And then, wait, I tell the story again. Wait. What happened right before that? Oh, yeah. Oh, wait, what happened right after that? Oh, yeah. So each time you tell the story, more details come in. And as the details come in, the emotion goes down. And you will get that out of your body. And you will have changes in your daily life and behavior and joy levels and everything else beyond what you even think is possible. Now, the next one that I want to bring in is related. I interestingly and lovely, did not lose my train of thought, which is awesome for me. I'd be okay if I did. Mira said a little while ago something that I've been wanting to talk to Mira about for quite a while. She said, it's sometimes hard to see all the areas where things actually changed. So you may recall a little while ago, I was talking about, just looking at everybody for a minute. Everybody still with me? Still breathing deep? So, I was talking about how when you have, I said, anybody here really moved through an emotion or more than one emotion and had that incredible change happen? And several people said yes, that I was asking. And then I said, have you ever really gone through one of those emotional things big time and had nothing happen? And nobody said yes. And then Mira said something that I've been watching in Mira, who she's not on the session now, so it's okay. She'll be watching the replay. Something that I've watched in Mira, and I see it in many of my clients. I see it in many people very often. And it's literally like a resistance to admit how much more wonderful things are becoming. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. It's common. Now, we don't have to do a whole lot of damn theorizing about why. Lots of reasons. For one thing, a lot of the people that come to me are transformational experts and healers and therapists and blah, 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 blah. And the last damn thing that they want to do is go tell somebody, hey, I found the guy who's way more effective at this than I am. Who the fuck wants to say that? All the coaches and experts that come to me, they don't want to go say that. And what's really interesting to me is I see the ones who are coaches and experts and healers and therapists who actually go out and tell everybody about me, not giving in to scarcity or fear or whatever. And I watch them fly even further faster. And listen to me. There's people that wouldn't fucking hire me under any circumstances who will hire you. Even if you say, I'm further along at this game than you are. Okay, because they just resonate with you. They're more ready for you where you are, and they know that you're further along than they are, and they know that they can count on you for help. Okay, so that's one of the things. Another thing is, don't get your hopes up, honey. Just tone it down a little bit so that you don't get too big for your britches. Don't. So we learn to always tone everything down, especially the good shit. We don't want to highlight that things are moving, because what if things start going, when we were little, how many of us learned when we were little that if we really got our hopes up and things started going in the way that we wanted, we thought we were going to be able to go and spend the night at our friend's house for the weekend. Mommy and daddy got mad on Friday and said, no, you can't go. Fuck, let me just act like I don't want it. You can relate. Another thing is we're just not in the habit of looking for the side of things that we say being positive. We're not in the habit of looking at those things. We keep looking, yeah, but this hasn't happened yet either. So this is what's really so interesting about Mira saying that is, everybody still with me? Don't think this part's not relevant to me. You might find out how relevant it is. When I was saying, has anybody here ever really gone through a significant emotional thing and not had anything? I asked that in very specific wording on purpose. Not had anything change. Notice I didn't say not have everything change. I said and not have anything change. very, very, very often, Jill, we'll sit and we'll notice all the things that haven't changed, and we'll give that more energy than we're giving to really noticing how much has changed. It's really easy to do, and it's a habit. And let me let you in on a little secret. Every minute that you spend focusing on what hasn't changed, you are perpetuating everything that hasn't changed, and you're keeping yourself out of everything that has changed and could be changing even more, bigger, faster. You got that? Somewhat? In the video that I shared about how to maximize your transformational results, which I recommend that everybody watches again and again and again. That's the name of the video, How to Maximize Your Transformational Results. I recommend you watch it again and again, reminding yourself again and again and again. Here's the nutshell. The way to suffer in hell is to look at where you are and look at where you want to be, wish you were, think you ought to be, certainly should be by now. That's the way to stay in hell. Because when you sit here and you look at where you want to be, should be, wish you were, blah, 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 you don't know how the fuck to get there. You got no clue how to get there. Let's be honest. And besides, you already know that most of that shit doesn't work, right? You got all these rules and all these structures in place that whenever I look at where I am and where I wish I was, like, I don't want to do that anymore. The way to heaven is to sit where you are and look at how far you have come. Look at how much it's changed. And yet we know if it's changed that much. Shut the fuck up and look at what has changed. Look at what has changed. Now, here's a way to do that. Write down what sucks. And then write down all the things that have gotten more the way you want them to be. And then continue that practice of journaling. Wow, today I had this awareness change. And so for you, Elaine, what happened today will change things for you. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. Veronica, what you did today, you know it's going to change. So what you want to do is write down what sucked and how bad it hurt and how confusing it was. And everybody that wrote these things down to me, put them there. And then notice tomorrow morning or later this afternoon when you go for a walk, notice the moment comes up, just like it always has, where you could be feeling that, only instead of feeling that, you actually remember what it was like to feel that yucky feeling. And you go, holy shit. And you write down that little change, that insignificant change, that little smidgen of difference. Well, did you ever notice that $1 billion is made out of dollars? It's just dollars. The journey of 10,000 miles, made out of miles. Every one of them counts. Every smidgen of progress in the direction you want to go might be infinitely more significant than you ever imagined, especially the way you've been framing it and thinking about it. So, Mira's phrase, it is sometimes hard. Number one, there is no it. Number two, nothing is hard or easy. Number three, you're doing it. You're the one choosing to not focus there. You're the one making it hard. And by saying it is sometimes hard to, you just literally expressed exactly how you were doing it. Anybody get that? It is sometimes hard to blah. Nope, there is no fucking it here. There is no it here. So stop and look at what you're saying and where it's coming from. Ooh, it is sometimes hard. No, there's no it here that is hard. I can't pull out the hard thing and show you here. And hard, there's no hard or easy. So I must be doing something that's keeping myself from fully experiencing and expressing. And the great news is I was observing you doing it, and I was going to talk to you about it again. And now you just had a significant movement in that direction. And depending on how much you'll focus on it, when was a time that I ever focused on the fact that I was doing better or moving forward, and I felt like it got my ass kicked? When was a time that I learned, don't talk too much about it moving in the, because you know those other crabs will pull you back down into the pot if you try to climb out. All those lessons we know. Write the wins and read them again and 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 read them again and again and again and again. If we have some guilt about doing some things to our kids, do we need to go to the mirror for that also to move through the guilt? You can certainly do that, Renita. Here's another thing, though. With stuff like that, listen, here's one thing that'll just set you free of the, who's all got kids? Anybody got kids? Who was absolutely flawlessly, perfectly loving and understanding with him every single second of every single minute of every single fucking day? Okay? Liars. No, y'all told the truth. Okay? So here's the thing. Who's got things that they could potentially regret that they've done in their parenting? Everybody. So here's what you do. First of all, you say, you look at the whole parenting debacle, including maybe the specific thing that's up for you at that moment, and you say, look what I created. And then you really look at it and you're admitting, I did create that. I forgive myself anyway. I mean, with what I learned and what I felt, and what I did, and the way I was raised with programming, and I found myself in that situation, I couldn't have done any fucking different, or I would have. I can honestly say, I never woke up in the morning and thought, well, before I get up out of this bed, let me plan how I can make my kids' lives a miserable fucking hell. I never thought that once. And if you did, seek help immediately. Okay? But you never thought that. So I forgive myself anyway. I was doing what I could based on the programming I received under the emotional load that I was carrying. I forgive myself anyway. And now I choose peace. Those three phrases will move you through a lot of stuff. If you really feel it while you're doing it, look what I created. Wow, that was me. I forgive myself anyway. What the fuck? If I really could have done differently, I would have. No, I've learned from Catholicism or whatever else how to be guilty forever. No, I was doing my best in that moment. If I felt what I felt, and it was in that experience, that's what I did. Now I could do different. I choose peace. Now, you may be inspired in that moment to go to your kids and say, listen, I just want to tell you, you may remember it, you may not. I really want to apologize explicitly to you about something I did. You may feel that, and if so, do it. And then the other thing that you can do is remind yourself in the moment that there's only one infinite, unlimited being here that lives in you and in those kids. Your kid is infinite, unlimited being. Nothing ever happened to you that wasn't for you. Nothing ever happened to them that wasn't for them. And the minute you remind yourself, you say, wait a minute, that means that if I beat them in the head with a pipe, they had to have actually at the infinite, cosmic, eternal level wanted that moment to happen, or it couldn't have happened. Well, Brian, you're spiritual bypassing. You're passing all of your responsibility. No, I'm not. I'm saying nothing. If I'm going to say nothing ever happens to me, it only happens for me, then how am I going to pretend that's not true for my kid? So at that moment, they must have wanted it. Now, guess what? Does that mean that I'm condoning it or going to continue it? No, because now I'm aware in a different way. I need never do it again. So they must be done with that. Need for that to happen for them. You stoic fuckers, come on now. You know that's gasp worthy. Somebody join me now. What the fuck? How did I miss that? It's okay. Even if you killed them. I don't know that I have anyone in this group that has killed a child. I don't know. If you did, what if you reminded yourself that they are an infinite, unlimited being who can't be born or die? Everybody gets only exactly what they came in for. Accidents are not possible in a universe that's one light expanding in all directions simultaneously without end. There's no accidents. There's no random events. Nobody has anything done to them. Now, I don't quite know what that means, Roxanne. I'm not sure you know what that means. You just said abortion's too young. I don't know what that means. You might want to explain that or ask a question. See you, Deanna. I'm about to wrap it up anyway, after I tell you what next week's home play is. I'm just going to say this regardless, Roxanne, whether you type in anymore or not. Listen, infinite unlimited being can't be born and can't die. Got it? Should someone feel inspired, to create their universe in such a way that abortion never happens again, I'm all for it. You enjoy yourself. I'm all for it. Okay? I'm just saying, what if for now, some infinite unlimited beings want to be almost born and be completely unwanted and have the experience of having their brains sucked out? Okay, good, Roxanne. Beautiful. And if anyone here has ever done an abortion, what if those infinite unlimited beings, which are actually you anyway, wanted to give you a chance to carry around the unbelievable guilt for a couple decades of the illusion that you killed somebody that was your own flesh and blood? Because, man, there's been a lot of pain around that one. I'm not sure that that abortion is any worse than than abortion. Circumcision and abortion, very, very similar as far as the content. Infinite, unlimited little baby there, basically completely helpless. Oh, the terror, the horror, until we actually wake up and realize, oh wait, nobody's actually harmed in the making of this infinite motion picture. Doesn't mean I would ever choose it again, though. So for anyone watching this now or on a replay that ever had an abortion, and you've carried this tremendous guilt and sadness and, oh my God, guilt and shame and whatever the hell else, one question is, has that guilt, shame, and pain, has that actually done anything to make life better for the kid or for you? All right, so I'm done. And now we have the biggie for this session. What a session. Dang it. So here comes the home play. Just like last week, I will get this up and on as quickly as I can. I will get it done today or tonight, as early as possible. So don't anybody take notes as much as you're going to want to. Here's what you're going to do this week. You are going to write out your ultimate repeatable day. Your ultimate repeatable day. Now here comes some guidelines for you. It's your ultimate day because it's about as incredible of a day as you could ever hope or dream or expect to ever live. Don't take notes. It's your repeatable day because it's not a vacation. You're not on a vacation. It's not like, oh, well, that's the one day. Ooh, if I could live the one ultimate day and then everything else would suck forever. No. This is like your day of the life that you would dream, the highest life you could dream in your body, with your brain, that you could even imagine dreaming, living, and experiencing. So, It will involve your work, if you have such a thing. Nobody's taking notes on it. It's going to involve the people around you. It's going to involve you waking up and going to sleep and eating the meals that you eat with the people that you eat them with. It's going to involve the partner, if you choose to have a partner in your life. Because if you were living your ultimate day and you really want to be in an incredible intimate relationship, then that day would include an intimate partner, wouldn't it? The ultimate perfect intimate partner. And that's how they do it in Belgium, right there. I hope you guys saw that. So you're going to write out something like, I'll give you an example of mine from about 9 years ago. I awakened to the warm sunlight coming through the window, the sound of birds and waves, the breeze blowing through, laying on an organic mattress on a beautiful organic pillow that's just the perfect size for me, softness. And I reach over and touch my woman, who immediately moans in ecstasy from the orgasms that she had before we fell asleep. And goes, I could just hear her appreciation for me in her voice when I touch her. And I think, do I want a blowjob now? Or do I just want to go for a walk first? I'm going to go for a walk. And so I pull on my shorts and my sandals and I walk out. And as I walk out the door, I think, do I want to walk down to the water or up to the top of this mountain that I'm on? Which direction do I want to walk for this walk? I decide up. And as I walk past, I pull a ripe mango off the tree. And I don't even stop to grab a paper towel. I'm going to be fine having this juice all over me while I'm walking up the hill. Maybe when I get back, she'll lick it off. And as I walk, I'm just filled with gratitude, smelling, hearing the birds, this tropical paradise that I somehow got myself in. I just feel so much gratitude. Every footfall on this beautiful land, I'm so grateful for all the green around me, clean air that I'm breathing. The fact that when I get back home, I'm going to have the most incredible morning. Tony Robbins and his wife coming over for lunch for us to discuss the program we're getting ready to do together. Through this writing, I'm involving every sense, as you might have noticed. Every smell, every sight, the feeling of my feet touching the ground, involving every sense is super important in mapping this out. And then as you come back over and read everything you've written, come back and make sure, did I involve all of my senses in this? Because you want to see and smell and feel and taste everything. Or smell if you really prefer, but that's fine. It'd be weird, but I'm okay with it. And then it includes the kind of people I'm hanging out with. The kind of, is it a tropical environment? Is a mountain environment? Am I on the edge of a lake? What is it for you that's just the ultimate? Forget about whether you can afford it. Forget about whether you can ever see yourself really getting to experience it. Because let me tell you, when I wrote this, I would have been voted least likely to ever live in fucking Hawaii. Let me promise you that much. Okay? It was not realistic or practical. Realistic and practical doesn't enter into this writing at all. Now, some things that I don't recommend. I don't recommend that you write down how many dollars or euros you have in the bank. I don't put numbers. Numbers don't come into this. Quantities don't. I don't know. Maybe someone gave me a house on a mountain in a tropical paradise. It doesn't matter. You get it? Don't put shit in there that's going to make you immediately doubt or think about numbers. No. It's the experience that you have. What kind of lover do you have? How does that person feel being with you? How do you feel being with them? What's your communication like? What's your relationship like? What's your health like? I have boundless energy as I'm walking up this mountain. I almost want to run. It's just too fucking beautiful. I want to walk slow and soak it all in. Maybe I'll go a little faster coming down. I hear the animals around me in this incredibly beautiful natural place. I'm feeling so much gratitude about the things that I'm doing in the world that's creating the world that I really want to live in. As I get around the corner at the very top and I just look down and I see the ocean from this height and I just remember, wow, what it was like to get here. And I am so filled with gratitude. And while I'm writing, I'm feeling it. And I make sure I put the details in there that just tickle my pickle to the utmost. So I'm just feeling it as much as humanly possible, okay? And then, some of you got hung up on the whole tickle to pickle thing. You're dirty. I didn't mean it that way. So then I go back down, and as I walk back to the yard, she's coming out the back door naked. And it looks like, yeah, that mango juice is going to serve me well. And her. And we go in the house, and then, for you prudes in the audience, I'm just toning that part down a little bit. I don't have to. And maybe about our dogs, our cat, whatever. Just the joy of our existence. And then I'm going to go into my music studio, and I'm going to play for an hour or so, like I always do. And this incredible sound system that I have, the way I just, the bliss that I feel listening to this musical instrument that I'm playing, such a high quality tool that's so expressive, coming through this incredible system. Oh, it's so amazing. You get it? And this perfect day that I'm talking about ends as I lay my head on the pillow in total peace. My relationship with my kids is full of love and expanding in depth and intimacy and connection today with those moments that I shared with each one of them one-on-one. Dinner we had together. That evening that we shared together, instead of watching a movie tonight, which is fun sometimes, instead we sat around the pyramid and just did some music together and sang. And that moment when my daughter looked in my eyes and I looked in hers, and we didn't have to say a word. It was like, I'm so grateful that you choose to be as loving as you do. It's such an incredible experience we're having together. And so my last thoughts as I lay my head on the pillow is, do I want another blowjob, or no, I'm actually good for today. I'm good. I'm just going to go ahead and drift off, and I just drift off in total peace of mind that there's money sitting there and there's more where that came from. This mattress is so comfortable, and tomorrow morning I get to do it again. Or if I really want, I could just lay in bed and read, because life is so working for me, and I finally let go of all that stuff. You get it? Now listen to me carefully. If you have any simple questions, make sure you have a question, or please don't ask just to ask. Really, because check into how you've lived your life up until now. I don't expect any questions about how to do this perfect day. I don't expect any to show up in the group. I expect everybody that wants their freedom to just do it. So let's get it clear now. Okay? Number one, you write every single detail. Write your questions if you have them right now. You're going to write every detail that you can even imagine of every aspect. From wake up till go to sleep. That ultimate day. The weather, where you are. Are you traveling? What kind of people are you with? What kind of partner do you have? Or are you loving being single? And then what? Why? What is it about it? And each episode, from waking up to getting out of the bed, to what you do before breakfast, to who you eat breakfast with, and what kind of breakfast you have, to what you do till lunch, to blah, 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 whatever work there is involved in there, play, what environments, what kind of actions you take, in what state of health, in what emotional state, et cetera, until your head touches the pillow. And then you go back through and you make sure that you insert every sense. I look and I see this. And don't just, oh, I saw a blue bird. No, fucking make it the stuff you want to see that really conveys that you're living that life of your dreams. And you embody those senses. You immerse those senses into the writing. So that, now this will answer Nazi's question there. Is this just to imagine it? Oh, no. This is too creative. So what did you do last week? Think about what you did for last week's home play. You wrote out the way it is. Best you could. Now you're writing out how it's going to be. How I'm going to let it be. Where I'm going to focus my energies. And every single time that you come back and read this, every time you read it, you get to fine tune it a little, because you're going to notice, oh man, oh no, it's not just that, it's also this. I noticed that as I go for my walk and I pull my shorts on, I notice these fucking abs, and I notice like I feel more flexible from the last few weeks of stretching that I've been doing, and I am sexier and stronger, and I just, man, I can't wait to run up this fucking hill this time. So you get to fine tune. This perfect day becomes a living, breathing thing. And those of you who do it optimally, who do it with all of your heart over the course of the next day or so, you'll have a few days between now and next session to actually fine tune it. Now, this is where your passion and your sincerity and your seriousness about living the life you want to live. I mean, I had a lot of people that messaged me. We had a few people. I said, listen, you can pay full price. Those of you who literally are unable to afford it, and you really find yourself in a situation where you're unable to afford it, pay what you can. A lot of people did that. And I'm going to say this in a semi-joking and not joking way. If one of you fuckers that paid less than full price for this program doesn't play full out doing this, you have my permission to actually be hard on yourself for 5 minutes. I want you to scold yourself and then fucking do it. Okay? Because none of us have ever done the things that would make us step into our freedom, or we'd be free. Hello? How about different scenarios? If you want, because this is a one-day thing, Andrea, because this is a one-day thing, keep it in one scenario, although you might say, and now, at 11 a.m., it's the hour that I usually spend reflecting on some of the days I've created and some of the days I plan to create. And today, as I sit for this hour, I imagine, and then you would bring in some different scenarios for that. But because this is one day, you want to make this the perfect day at home with your regular work or whatever it is that you have, so that you have something that is the ideal that you could imagine while also being something you can envision that's your normal day. And it's infinitely awesomer than any day you've ever lived. And we're not worried about making it realistic or practical or affordable. We're assuming, okay, if you want, you've already been given all of the means financially to do this. Rich relative died, doesn't matter. You have the means. You're not counting dollars on this. Up until now, I haven't been very creative in writing. I love that up until now. Does anybody else love that up until now? Up until now, I've not been very creative in writing. And you can absolutely be infinitely creative starting right now, no matter how it's been. Especially with this, all you're doing is envisioning the most incredible. Don't even look at this as writing. You're envisioning your ultimate day. You just happen to be writing the fucker down. And now here's the last piece of this. I'm going to recommend that you not type it. Grab your beautiful journal that I know you all wisely got you a nice, gorgeous journal. I love my journal. I got the sexiest journal I've ever had, right? I love that thing. Even got me a nice pen that I really like. Look at this, look at this, look at this. Look at this, look at my pen. Ready for this? Now, that ain't what's so awesome. This is ebony, but look at this. Look what it says. Oh yeah, oh yeah. I got that fucker engraved. I was like, if I'm gonna do this, it's amazing how low ticket you can get awesome stuff these days. That good old internet thing. I'm so grateful for that. So what I want you to do is I want you to write it out. And if the first 2 or 3 times that you write it, oh shit, he said write it out 2 or 3. I thought that's already going to be an all-day job. But I must just write it 2 or 3. I don't write it 10 times, write it 50 times. What's your fucking freedom worth? How much time and effort have you put into avoiding your misery? I reckon you can put a few hours into something that's going to have more impact on your freedom than anything you've ever done. You reckon? Okay, so check it out. The first 1 or 2 or 3 times that you write it out while you're fine-tuning it, you might want to write it in a spiral notebook, or you might want to use your journal so that you have the history of it. Then I want you to come back a day or 2 later and keep coming back to it for the first couple of days, adding to it and clarifying and adding. You can just write it like, scratch out a word and write above it and whatever. Let it be as messy, whatever as you want. Then, when you think you really pretty much got it, write it out from start to finish in your journal, and you can take a little, they make tabs you can stick. You make it however fancy you want to get. You just dog ear a page so that you can't miss it. And I want you to read it every single day for the rest of this program. At the very least, read it every single day. And when you read it like it's the first time. Okay? Now, you've all experienced it. Listen, I got no problem talking about death, sex, whatever. I don't have any sacred cows, I just love all cows. I ain't got no sacred cows. I talk about blowjobs, and I talk about sex, and I talk about freaky lingerie, whatever is going to serve the conversation. And sometimes if I feel nudged to say something that might be shocking, if I say it repeatedly, and you're like, God, he's saying it too many times, that means I'm saying it for you. You get it? Okay. So listen, those of you who don't have dicks, probably never going to get a blowjob. I could be wrong. But at the same time, if you have one of them there vagina things, sometimes known as a pussy, if you have one of those, you can be honest about if you're in an amazing relationship or you got someone that really turns you on, you would love for them to eat your pussy, right? A couple people have the guts to actually smile and nod. Those of you who've been with me for a while, none of this shocks you anymore. It's just, and those of you that feel shocked, please get over it. Why? You have a pussy, right? No, I don't want to ever would touch that in a way that could give me incredible pleasure. I'm very shocked and offended that you would say that, Brian. So let's be for real. Okay. If your lover's ever going to give you a blowjob, or if your lover's ever going to go down on you, you want them to do it in the most neutral, calm, clinical way possible, right? Okay, honey, I am now going to address your clitoris. No. That's not how you want it, okay? So bring that passion to writing this day out. How good do you want it to be? How blissful do you want it to be? How ecstatic do you want it to be? And when you get to that time of your day, when it is next Wednesday, when you're, oh wait, it's that time of day when I review my perfect day in my journal. Get hot, baby. Ooh, this is going to be good. Oh, I'm going to make you feel so good, Brian, when you read this thing this time. And you open it like you never read it before. You don't even know what's the first. Oh, my God. I wake up in the morning on this pillow and, organic sheets. And, but the temperature just, feel everything about it. Feel everything. Feel those footfalls. If you're walking around your own private lake or the lake that you live on, or your house is right there on the sand, and you want to wake up in the morning and grab a banana and step outside and just stand barefoot on the sand for a few minutes and feel the sun moving through your body. right? Feel it when you read it. The more you feel it when you read it, the quicker it will be showing up in your reality. And last thing I want to say, listen to me. Hear me now. Hear me. I can imagine everything you can think and feel. If you feel like you have 60 or 70 extra pounds on your left butt cheek, you know, not to mention the right and those other areas. If you feel like, well, with this health issue, or if you feel like my relationship history, I don't even want to dream of addressing this. If you have anything like that, if you knew the unbelievable, utter motherfucking rotten, nasty, stinking, depressed, hopeless hell I was living in the first time I did this. You hear me? Do you hear me? When I was living in the fucking hell and I'm sitting here writing this out like, okay. I live in a tropical motherfucking paradise. And I got a mango tree in my front yard. I would have never dreamed it in a million years. I would have never believed it. So when you're doubting, you live in Hawaii, asshole. I wasn't when I did it. I wasn't when I wrote this day out. I was nowhere near having the ability to have a relationship like I have right now. It wasn't even a fucking fantasy. Like, yeah, right. You hear me? So when that bullshit comes up for you about, wow, this is a stretch, and you don't have any idea what's a stretch, I respectfully say, who's going to do it? Really? Oh, really? Really? Oh, look at that. All right, now those of you who didn't finish or start last week's home play, get that shit done. Get that shit done. But don't rush through it so you can get to this one. Just get it done. You live this long without it. Anybody want to really get what they came for in this program? Okay, feel your feelings. Tell your story to the mirror. Journal your little sexy fingers off. Okay? Express massive appreciation everywhere, all the time, especially in the directions where you are receiving value and benefit and kindness. It's kind of weird, but wouldn't that be obvious? Like that if there's nothing actually physical here, that thing that's showing up in your life that seems like the nicest, kindest, lovingest thing that you might want to aim instead of where you've been aiming it up until now, do it constantly. Do it more and more and more. Map out your life as it's been. And then map out the most incredible experience that you can even imagine. And feel it 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 and feel it. And watch these sessions over and over and over again. And you won't have no time left to create the hell you've been creating. If you get to the point where you start writing this and you say, oh, I'll get back to it later, I understand. Give yourself a hug and then pull your pen out. If you get where you feel a little bit stuck, what I really encourage you to do I'll get this video up as quick as I can. Whenever I finish the session, and these 2 and 3 hour crazy ass sessions, when the session ends, I click a button, it starts converting. It takes a while for the video to convert into a format that I can upload. It takes a little while to upload, and then you guys have it. I'll get it done as quickly as I can. What I encourage you to do is, as you're watching the replay, mark somewhere, save it on your phone, your computer, or in your journal. This is the moment where he starts talking about this perfect day project, so that you can easily come back to this part of the video and go through this part again, and you'll get clear real quick. I want to see you get what you came for, and it would be kind of stupid if you let me want it for you more than you do. This is kind of important. Now, some of you are going to resent Jill for this. That's okay. She said, my normal day is already pretty close to what you described. Some might say totally unrealistic already. Up until now, my super awesome and freedom-filled days haven't been adding up to the overall results that I want. I want to do the things that I want to do with an eye on the long view. So what I would tease you with, Jill, and it's a rare situation. Most people aren't in that situation or even close to it. What I want to really encourage you to is what that means. What I see in that is, up until now, my super awesome and freedom-filled days have been adding up. That means that there's something you want more than simply time freedom. There's something in what others would call work, that you would feel more fulfilled, you would feel more ecstatic, more excited, more enthusiastic, more da-da-da-da-da. Now, I'm really glad, actually, that you said that. I was going to wrap it. I'm going to add one more ingredient to our day process here. So check this out. You're going to focus on your passion. You're going to focus on the thing that you get to do that just sets you on fire, okay? Neil Peart, the lyricist for Rush, shared this. And I don't remember who the author was he was quoting, but he said, everybody talks about having things inspire you, but actually inspiration is an inside job. You have to set yourself on fire. So you find the thing in you that, if I was doing more of that, you plant that through your day and then make your day holographic. You wake up in the morning, and even your wake-up excitement centers around this thing that stimulates your passion the most. Okay, now the last thing, though, is this. Truthfully, most of us are so deluded, not diluted, although they do lead to the same place. Most of us are so deluded that we really don't know what we want. We haven't thought about what we want for so fucking long. We start to think about, I don't know. Can I just have another beer and I'll think about it later? I know my favorite show's about to come on anyway. So, what you're going to do is you can sit down and take a few deep breaths, put your feet on the dirt, sit under the sunlight to do this writing, and say, really, if I was really inspired, what would I be inspired to do? If I really felt inspired. I mean, like, when I wake up in the morning, what kind of environment really, if money wasn't even an issue, maybe I literally want to live on top of a mountain in North Carolina. Maybe I want to live in a hippie community, blah, 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 blah. Maybe I want to live in an area of extreme poverty, devoting my whole day to really helping people. Now listen, let me say something really shocking. It's no more awesome or valuable to live your life in total service to everybody else than it is to live in total selfishness. I'm sorry, it isn't. Not ultimately, when there's not a physical universe here. However, you very well may find that contributing to other people is actually a really significant part of that ultimate day for you. So what I encourage you to do is Be ready to rewrite this thing a few times along the way. And every time you start to tap into the emotions you want to feel, what it is that you most want to be doing will become clearer and clearer and clearer. Powerful phrase. I think Bob Proctor might have been the first person I heard say this. I just give kudos when I can. I'm so happy and grateful now that I am blank. I feel so happy and grateful now that I am blank. That's a sentence starter that you can easily use to bring the next piece of this. And just when you review your thing, after you've written this whole thing out in such intricate, amazing detail, and all the ink's running from your tears, and you come back to it the next day and you're reading it, be ready and willing to rewrite the entire thing from scratch, or to rewrite entire sections. Don't be surprised when you look at it, you say, wait a minute, you know what? I wrote this yesterday. It was so much more awesome than the life I've been living that I didn't really realize that I was still compromising. I was still thinking in terms of what's practical or that I can actually believe in. That is not going to make your soul sing. I was living in a hopeless, suicidal fucking hell when I wrote mine. It wasn't about practical or believable. And here I am living 95% of it. And that last 5%, the experience of stepping into that is going to be even more incredible for me. So, you can have it. You can experience it. Just talking to you. Like he's talking to them, not me. Nope. I'm talking to you. You can have it. Extra blowjobs may be it. Actually, I am in a world of infinite blowjobs. I'm just saying. That one's handled. Thank you for reminding me in case that was one that I wanted. More threesomes. For those who want it, I say rock on with your bad self. So, go do it. You're welcome. Thank you for showing up. Love you. See you next week. Unless I get something better to do.